I know. Yeah, and I've got a twin sister as well, so there's two of us. So there you go. Okay, so morning everyone. Really excited to talk to you today. My name is Seaborne. My business is called Enlitened Weight Loss. So to help you understand what I do, I also want to help you understand what I don't do. So I'm a hypnotherapist and I am an eating psychology coach. I'm not a nutritionist and I'm not a dietitian. I don't give my clients diet plans. I don't give them meal plans to follow. I don't give them a system to follow. We all know about what's out there in the kind of the weight loss world. We know about the dieting systems that are prevalent. Weight Watchers launched in the 1960s. Following the arrival of the bikini and bra burning, out came Weight Watchers. So in the 1960s, we very much saw the kind of consolidation for feminine beauty in being thin, and the sort of the market for weight loss has just gone from strength to strength since that time. Diets offer a kind of very limited approach. They make food and they make weight the problem. The reason I don't give my clients a diet to follow is because the dieting industry, which is worth billions of pounds in the UK, it has a 95% failure rate. So that means that 95% of anyone who goes on a diet and loses weight within the first year up to the next 5 years will regain the weight that they've lost, and sadly very often that they end up weighing more than when they first started. So my point of view is diets don't actually cater for somebody who has the typical self-image of a dieter. So let's think about this logically. Diets need somebody who's 100% focused, lots of willpower, lots of motivation, somebody who is totally organised. They've got their food prep done, they've got their shopping sorted. How this person would be more successful than Richard Branson. The type of self-image of the clients who come through my door, they don't sound anything like that. They have very low confidence, they have low self-esteem, they have poor body image. They have feelings of guilt and shame because they're fat. They feel guilt and shame because they can't stick to it. They think they have a massive willpower problem. Please can you hypnotise me, Carol, to help me have willpower to beat this. So they've got unwanted habits, binge eating, overeating, boredom eating, emotional eating. This is the typical kind of person who I work with. So I think diets do not cater for somebody who has that kind of self-image. Now our self-image, what we believe to be true about ourselves, very often it's established from when we're quite young. So my dieters, my slimmers, my weight loss clients, they come in and their self-image is, I'm just not good enough. I have no motivation. So that's their core belief, what they believe to be true about themselves. So they have that, they get the thoughts, they get the horrible negative feelings in their body because they just don't feel good enough. They then go out and they have the behaviours and the actions demonstrating how they're just not good enough. This gives them the results that they don't lose weight, they binge eat, they overeat, they emotionally eat, whatever they do, they put on weight. And this then confirms their image of self. So I don't think that diets actually cater and how to deal with that kind of self-image. As an eating psychology coach, that's where I step in. So I can help people to unravel their self-image, to start to change their thoughts, their behaviours, their beliefs about themselves. Self-image can be developed by the people in our lives, sort of parents, teachers, doctors, people in authority. So one of the first kind of key areas that I like to explore with my clients is I explore their family of origin. So what I mean by that is tell me about your mum, tell me about your dad. Has anyone else in the family got a problem with weight? Tell me about your mum's relationship with food and body. What's the story there? What have they learned? What's the relationship like with your mum and your dad, brothers and sisters? What's going on there? So, very sadly, it's so common. I get women that come and work with me that they've had not the best relationship with their mum. Doesn't mean they don't love their mum, but there's been kind of trauma there. So I work with women who have never been told by their mum that they're loved. I've worked with women who have been physically assaulted by their mum when they were a child. I've coached women who've been pinned up against a wall and force-fed vegetables. Funnily enough, they've then gone on as an adult, they don't want to eat veg because part of their self-image, their belief is it's not safe for them to eat that. They don't feel nurtured, they don't feel nourished by their mum. So energetically what they're doing is that whole I'm not good enough to be loved by my mum, they are then acting out that relationship with their mum in how they're using food. So food becomes the place where that relationship is acted out, that they don't love themselves, so they don't look after themselves. The diet, they're not going to deal with that. So I help these women to energetically be their own parent, to be their mother, to start loving themselves rather than hating themselves or telling themselves that they're not good enough. The next kind of key area that I do a lot of work with clients is tell me about your primary relationship. Husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. Even it could be somebody who's no longer here. So I've worked with women that maybe they've lost a child. So what's going on? What's the energy around this relationship? Again, so a typical example to give you is when I get women coming in and I say, okay, so you're married, so you're happy in this marriage? And they'll go, well, yeah. Okay, tell me a little bit more. What's going on there? And then you wiggle it out of them with love and kindness, of course. They're not happy in that marriage and they do not want to have intimacy with their husband. So suddenly I'm saying to them, I said, so really your weight actually is becoming a perfect excuse then, isn't it? There's a benefit for your weight because the weight means you don't feel sexy, you don't feel attractive, but it also means you don't then have to be intimate with your husband. So the food, the weight isn't the problem is the relationship. Other key areas that I get to explore with clients is about money. Fear of not having enough money, fear of losing money. The workplace. We're all lucky, aren't we? Because hopefully we have businesses that we love, things that we can get up and enjoy what we do every single day. Energetically, if they're in a job that they hate, they're going to be medicating with food at work because offices are notorious, aren't they, for having plates of biscuits, the lady who always brings the cakes in, they're always doing the rounds, and they use that food to just make themselves feel better to get through the day because they don't have a real purpose. They're not able to give their gifts. They're not really enjoying themselves. Yes, I do talk about food with my clients. I teach them how, what, when to eat. I teach them how to nourish themselves and to really look after themselves. But all of these kind of things that I've been talking about, hatred of your body, worries in relationship, worries with money, work, all of those things, they cause a stress response. Now, most people don't actually understand how, for the majority of people, stress causes weight gain. Yes, there is a subset of people where stress will help them to lose weight. I imagine Tim, under stress, easily is going to lose weight. Maybe. Anyway, but for the majority of people, let's really understand when you've got big stress in your life, it's driving your eating behaviours. We're turning to food for comfort, to make us feel better. But let's understand what stress does. Stress raises cortisol in your body, it raises your insulin levels, and you're going to have blood sugars being released for energy, because stress is when we should be running away. Stress is we should be fighting a tiger or running off and saving our lives. But most people, when we're under stress, what are we doing? On a computer, driving the car, we're much more sedentary. So those blood sugars don't get used, so they get stored as fat. Does anyone know where it gets stored? Around your belly. So this area is much, much more sensitive to cortisol, and that's generally where the weight gain goes on. Stress switches off your appetite just like that. It diminishes your body's ability to calorie burn, to metabolize. It affects your ability to gain muscle. So even if you're out exercising, you can't build the muscle, and therefore you're diminishing your ability to calorie burn. My role is to help people relax. To relax around how they feel about their body, to relax about how they feel about food. The reason I call my business Enlightened Weight Loss, it's to lighten up it's to have the right education, it's to physically feel lighter, and it's to feel lighter by letting go of stress. So that's what I do. It's Carol Seaborne from Enlightened Weight Loss, and it is lasting, intelligent, transforming, and enjoyable.
Two questions. First two people put their hands up. One.
That was fascinating, really good explanation. You mentioned women. What about men? Will you work with men?
Yes, I do. Women have a very, very unique relationship with food and body, which is why that was me. I was that crazy lady. Yes, I do work. I love working with guys because you tend to be a lot more straightforward and you tend to go and do what I tell you to do. So yes, yes, you can. I work with a lovely guy who's 67 years old, 3 stone, and his greatest achievement was he could bend over and tie his own shoelaces up. How amazing is that? Tim?
Catherine, how do we start that conversation? How do we spot people that we need to refer to you, and how do we start that conversation to get them referred to you?
I think it's listening for where their pain is. So somebody who's panicking about, does my bum look big in this? People who may be struggling kind of like with kind of clothes choices, stuff like that. If you kind of, people not wanting to go out. So if you've got friends going, I don't want to go out. That was the kind of thing that I would do, is because I didn't want to buy some clothes, because I didn't want to go out being the size that I was. People who say, I shouldn't have eaten that, or I feel really guilty, or I've been really naughty. Well, if you want to change that kind of relationship with food, that is what I can do. So it's really listening for those kind of, the pain of, I don't feel attractive, I feel bloated, I feel uncomfortable. I can help people with kind of digestive issues as well. You know, it is a tough one, but it's just listen. I think for the women in the room, you're probably more likely to hear it from your friends, but it is that, whether it's your wives, your daughters, if there's any self-criticism, if there's any self-hatred, that's what needs to stop, because that's putting them into a